My experience personally and what I've observed for myself is that Scientology is destructive and a ripoff, and that it's very, very dangerous for your spiritual, psychological, mental, emotional health and evolution. See, this is part of the moments of coming out of Scientology, for me at least. I think it might be something common to a lot of people, but there are moments where you just feel a loss. And it's not a loss of, I miss Scientology by any stretch. It's a loss, it's a regret of having invested so much in something that is empty. And so there are these moments, I just had one, where you just go, as I got out, when I got out, one of the first people I went to go see was David. And, you know, his whole family was out of town, and I was just moving here, and now we live in the same city. And so I went over to his house, and, you know, we were just walking around, and we talked about it a little bit, just a little bit, you know, because I just said, oh, by the way. You know, I said, oh, okay. But somehow I went and I explained to him, and here I am, you know, just kind of basically, it just walked out the door, and it did so much for me. But I started to explain to him the story of Xenu and the loyal officers, and I tell you, fuck me, I mean, I couldn't get a third of the way through the story, and we had our faces on the floor. We were laughing so hard. I mean, you couldn't even talk. You was just, because it's retarded. You know, it's a funny thing in Scientology. You feel as though you're waking up to the truth, the reality, or what really is. But what you're doing is waking up to the reality of Scientology. Can you imagine what it would be like to have a person at your beck and call and complete disposal, your slave, who not only was a slave by force, but by you know, you've got them by the mind, not the balls. You got them by the mind. So they're in love with you, devoted to you, to do whatever you want for their entire lifetime. Okay? And you can just get them, so they're working, let's say, I mean, just a person working 100 hours probably is what the average Sea Org person works a week. I'd say about 80 to 100 hours a week. What's the minimum wage on that? Is, you know, I mean, it's not even minimum wage shit. I mean, they build the buildings. They do everything. High-tech stuff. I mean, is it worth at least $75,000 a year? So that's it. And then you get that for 50 years, 40 years, because they get them when they're teenagers. You know? And they, you know, and they've also hired a dentist who takes care of their teeth. They've also hired a, you know, all these kind of things. It's part of their organization. I mean, what is that? That's just millions and millions of dollars worth of free labor. I mean, it's not only that, plus your whole life. And what do they get in exchange? They believe that they're saving this sector of the galaxy. And that's enough for them. So I was one of the first people to finish the congresses. Because I just sat, I get up and I fucking thing, and I get up early. I get up at like 5. And I just get up and I take the dog and I'd go and I'd listen to 3 tapes and walk for an hour or 2 and do the thing. And so I got through the congresses. And the congresses are part of what got me out of Scientology. Because if you listen to those fucking congresses, it goes like this. Hi everybody, I'm LRH. I'm very happy you're here. Listen, I've got great fucking news. We've got clear handled. And he'll do this thing, and it's this new technology, and here's the realization, and this is foolproof, and this is it. And that's it, and now welcome to 1964. Okay? Apparently, you know, because the fucking thing didn't work, and Dianetics didn't work, even though nobody ever said it didn't, but they always trying to perfect clear. Then the next Congress, and there were what, 20, 30 of these fucking Congresses? Maybe about, I don't know, 200 hours or some shit. Every fucking Congress is, I got it now we've got clear handled. We finally got clear. And this is going on over, I'm listening from 1964 to like 1970, and they still haven't fucking handled clear, but they're selling you clear. And you go to their museum, it's all the Sykes are bad, the Sykes are bad, this is a bad thing, and Hitler, and they're responsible for child pornography and rape, and it's all the Sykes. And I say, okay, that's their viewpoint. I say, but if I'm going to get into a discussion, if you want to prepare me to be a spokesman for this shit, I got to know the other side. And I kept asking, can you give me the other side? And they won't give it to you. And every time I would push it, I'd be like, honey, there's no way to get into the argument. They're not, if it's all this is true, there wouldn't be anything. There's nothing written in all the tomes of Scientology about psychiatry. Nothing other than the Sykes are responsible for all your sexual problems because they implanted you as a Thetan 10 years ago. And I realized that on my research of OT10. Oh, well, then it must be true because LRH says it's so. And basically, there's maybe 2 sentences in there where LRH says, through my research on the whole track of OT something or other, I just discovered that this is all because of Sykes. And that's the reference they tell you to prove that the fucking Hitler and rape is a thing. And I'm like, honey, that doesn't quite handle it. Here's just a thing if you have just a little thing. All these claims, how about a little bit of fucking evidence? How about some fucking evidence? I'm not talking about prove to me there's God. I mean, it's just some pretty fucking sweeping things of like, well, you have to take responsibility for, salvaging beings. Like this whole Xenu thing is insane. You know what I mean? Do people believe it? Why? Because LRH said it. Just like I was talking about the Sykes. There's no fucking evidence. It's just chatter. But let me tell you something. These are good people. These are some of the best people you can meet. These are people who really want to help. They're willing to give up their entire life and their own personal ambition to help others. That's a pretty rare, and generally you would say, it's a pretty decent person. I don't have an agenda. I don't think. I mean, like most people, I guess I want to help. And I suppose that's why I got into Scientology. That is because I wanted to help. And right now I'm trying to help. And I know that the Scientologists are trying to help. They're just trying to help. I think that's what most people are trying to do, is they're just trying to help. I don't want to be a terrorist about it and shake anybody up and upset anybody. I have the luxury of having gotten into Scientology and after having been in it, been out. And that's a perspective that those people who are in and are not out do not have.